Yeah. So anyway, I'm good. Thank you very much for letting me chime in.
Of course. I'm wondering if Marwan, are you here? Marwan actually just registered. I just saw him, and so I was just curious if Marwan is here. I see him.
All right, everyone. Welcome to the Kitsap Housing and
So
Homeless
let me see, what
Coalition
time is it?
meeting.
It's
They will
2:05
get started
now. We
here
have
in
41
just a second.
participants in the meeting. I think it's a good time to get started. More people might join, and we're going to do community updates at the end of the meeting, as we usually do. But before I show the agenda, one last time, here's the prompt. The prompt is, if you could share your name, agency, and something new, like a hobby or skill you recently learned, or something you are planning to learn in 2024, in the chat, and then we'll read them off. So let me stop sharing for a second. Nice to see everybody. Okay, so let's get started. So as you all might know, my name is Katie Sharp. I am the communications manager at the Bremerton Housing Authority, but I'm also the new coalition chair. Our past chair, Lisa Lechuga, is here as well, and we have not had a meeting since November 2023. So we're hopeful that we can have presentations about what's going on this month, as well as some conversation around our updates. So let me share the agenda for today. I can get it up. Okay, here is the agenda. Oh, it says it's loading. I'm concerned that it's going to quit on me just a second. I'm back. My Zoom is so tricky for sharing screen, but I think we're okay now. Everybody can hear me? I'm back. My Zoom. Okay. I think we're good now. Can everybody see it?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So again, we send these agendas out in our newsletter. You might have seen it already. I just want to go over it while we start our meeting. First, since on the agenda is the statement of our vision, mission, and values, it's always a great reminder of what we're here for. So at the bottom of the agenda is actually our vision, mission, and values. So every person in our community has a safe, decent, stable, and appropriate home. Our mission is the Kitsap Housing and Homelessness Coalition provides leadership to end homelessness through planning, coordination among social service providers, advocacy, and education. And the coalition strives to carry out our mission with respect, commitment, compassion, integrity, and a willingness to change. And you may also know, while we're scrolling down the agenda, there's a list of partner agencies. And this was taken from, I think, Lisa, you can correct me, but this was the original list, or have you been adding to this list?
I think it's been iterated from that original list that I inherited, but basically everything that is bolded, those are the organizations that have actually filled out the membership form on our website. I still have the other organizations you remember, but when we were trying to update and make sure everything was current last year as we were opening up from the pandemic, I was tracking that way. So the bolded doesn't mean anything except that you have filled out a membership form.
And this year, it's one of our priorities as the executive team to figure out what membership looks like. We have a form on our website, but we also are really relying on our email list, which has over 460 individuals receiving our emails, and the agencies listed there. So any communication out does go to the mailing list, but we really want to strengthen our membership structure. Okay, so then the second item on the agenda is a reminder that the meeting is recorded and posted online. So it's being streamed right now by Marwan Cameron and the Conduit. I haven't received confirmation from Marwan if he is there recording, but usually a link
He's
is
giving you the thumbs up,
Oh,
Katie.
perfect.
He's gotcha.
I got. Thank you, Marwan. And so after the meeting, a link will be available, especially if those who can't make it on the Wednesdays, because we have a lot to do during the middle of the day. It's nice to review that link, especially if there's a presentation or something that you wanted to make, but you just weren't available. So that's always recorded every month and posted on the podcast channel, The Conduit, on YouTube. So, and I will try to share that. I try to share a link every month on the newsletter. And we also have a link on our website for his channel. And then the executive committee members, we have a small executive committee and we have 3 official positions, one of them being the chair, as I am holding now for the next year. Bridget Glasspool from Kitsap Mental Health Services is our vice chair. And then for our secretary role, we have 2 secretaries serving as co-secretaries. So they can alternate taking notes and checking emails. And we're very thankful to have Emily Larson from Kitsap Rescue Mission and Dana Emily from Eagles Wings here acting as co-secretary. So if you do have any questions, those are the official roles, but also we're so thankful for everybody who supports the executive team. We meet every month, and anybody who is wanting to join and take a leadership role in the coalition is allowed to do so. We meet on the first Wednesday of every month via Zoom. Lisa, of course, our past chair from the Kitsap Regional Library, Leif Wagner, who, may I announce, works at the Bremerton Housing Authority now, formerly Kitsap Mental Health, and John Nickerson from KCR, and Carl Borg from Kitsap County. So and any questions about executive team or anything like that, or what our role is in the community? And then the next thing is supposed to be minutes approval, but now that we are back in the new year, we didn't have a meeting in December, so there's no minutes to approve this time. And then our community builder. So let me stop sharing. Okay, let me see if I can bring up the chat again. Okay, so I'm gonna ask a favor. Remember when my Zoom quit on me? The chat disappears. Luckily, it's auto-saved in Zoom, but Lisa, do you want to start our community builder?
Absolutely, Katie. Zoom. That's all I'm going to say about it. Okay, welcome. Archel Heyman from Catholic Community Services for Veteran Families is here. Thanks for being here today. Michelle J. Rowe from Kitsap Transit started hot yoga. Woo woo. Paula Rimmer from the Kitsap Humane Society, who was just talking earlier. She's the grants manager there, and she's hoping to try out ChatGPT in 2024 to help with grants. Eve, the SSI, SSDI attorney and volunteer with Kitsap Legal Services is here. Welcome, Eve. Eric, my buddy and neighbor from the Salvation Army. Hobbies, no, but I am a Y guy, is what he said. I'm guessing that's a good hobby. Welcome, Eric. Glad you're here. AJ Channel from Housing Resources Bainbridge is learning the sport of lure coursing with his dog. I butchered the word lure. It's hard for me to say. Thanks, AJ. Helen Havens from she's a Bremerton community member, and she's taking up embroidery again. Kimberly from Catholic Community Services, SSVF Supportive Service for Veteran Families is here. Welcome, Kimberly. Adrian Briggs with Fishline. I am learning how to stay calm while teaching my teenager how to drive. Best wishes to you, Adrian. Bridget Glasspool from Kitsap Mental Health, and our vice chair is here. Yay, Bridget. Grace Ingram, the case manager at Kitsap PCAP. She's interested in learning more about painting and different kinds of art. Virginia McClaslin, our friend from the county, she's learning leather working. Jason Doty from Kitsap Aging and Long-Term Care is taking up learning about the hobbies of others. That's wonderful, Jason. This is for me. I don't have any new skills that I can identify at the moment, but I am trying to do 30 yogas in 30 days. It's harder than it sounds, just saying, but I'm excited to try. Carl Borg, our other buddy from Kitsap County. Thank you for being here, Carl. Leah Nolden from Kitsap County. Looking forward to learning more about homesteading, and she's already set up 4 classes this month. Awesome, Leah. Nicole Oberg from Salish Behavioral Health Administrative Services Organization, otherwise known as Salish BHASO. She's prioritizing creativity in 2024 and has really enjoyed doing collage art. Thank you, Nicole. Frankie Coleman Jr. Is the community relations person from Coordinated Care. A new skill that he's getting back into is playing the piano. Wonderful. Katie Sharp, you got a shout out from Katie K, being a rock star, a website rock star. I would also throw in Leif is the website rock star too for the Housing and Homelessness Coalition. He does a lot of work behind the scenes, but they are both very good at helping to get the word out about the KHHC. Okay, Philip from Kitsap Community Resources and the Asset Building Coalition of Kitsap is here. I think they were on hiatus for a while, so they're back. They're gathering back together. Thank you for being here, Philip. And Katie Knudsen from Catholic Community Service, PEN program. You didn't have a hobby, but I will share that Katie is quite amazing, and she is been really fun to work with for Project Connect, and she's been gathering a lot of donations to distribute. You too are a rock star. Carisha is a DEI specialist from Bremerton Housing Authority, and a new skill she hopes to learn in 2024 is foraging in the wild, knowing what to eat and what to stay away from. Yes. The identification part is tough. I wish you the best luck. I think that's a cool skill.
And Lisa, I have it now.
All right.
Now. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And I wanted to go and jump in on Marwan's update for the severe weather shelters. They're in the chat. I do want to mention that the website has a number that you can, I think it's a sign-up list that you can become part of their text messages. And I always get text message, severe weather shelters open, and it's a really great system. So if you don't have that, please get updated, go to their website. We can show it later, but also, let's see, I think it's all the details Marwan provided as well, that the shelters are open except the one in Polsbo. So, and let me see, Katie K says Leif Wagner. Leif, you're under Katie's link, it looks like. And so he said, a new skill, learned editing tricks on Pro Tools. It'd be interesting. And I'm assuming that's all on computer. And then Martita May, let me see. Looks like you provided your information from the Kitsap. Well, you have a lot of acronyms. Do you want to just share what the acronyms are?
Yes, the parent-child health, Notice Family Partnership. Sorry.
Oh, no, it's okay.
That's why I
And
put
then,
the link. Thank you.
yeah, so she shared the link. And like I said, I'm recording the chat. You should be able to save the chat. If you see anything that's of interest to you, save the links. And then looks like you shared some attachments too. And then Roland Arper, Project Share, Learn and Project Connect, might I say. And then Learn Not to Trust Coaches who signed contracts and jump ship. Okay. And then Joey Hayes, community advocate. She said she's learning to make bread and hope to learn new kinds. That sounds delicious. And Don Adams from DSHS, and I'm not sure what PBS is, but going to eliminate sugar this year. Well, that's a great goal. I don't know if I could do it, but I'm always inspired by that. And then Martita May, hoping to continue learning Russian. She says she forgot what she learned, and this is the year at least to learn the basics. And then Scott Willard from Kitsap Homes of Compassion, going to focus on being healthier this year. And Katie Trammell from Bremerton School District, I'm pushing myself to try new and uncomfortable things. And Terry Schroeder, continue, and she is our vendor, magical vendor registration, everything around Project Connect. So thank you to Terry, and she is an amazing volunteer, and she says she's continuing water aerobics regularly this year. Well, that sounds fun. I'm so curious where you do water aerobics, Terry. And so Marwan posted how to sign up for SMS notifications for the shelters. And then the last one, Don Adams, is a public benefits specialist. And I have to say, I think before even Lisa joined, I know there was a couple posts. So if anybody wants to introduce themselves or share what they've learned, please feel free to do that now if you'd like. Otherwise, oh, here we go. Terry says she does water aerobics at the Banger Pool. So thank you all for participating. Again, the community builder helps us get to know each other in this virtual world, and it really helps kind of ease us into this meeting, and also because we don't have a lot of opportunities to see each other, except Project Connect is coming up quickly, so I'm excited to see you all in person. So next on our agenda is, so on my agenda, let me see, share and not quit on me. No, right, I did it again. Can anybody see my screen?
I see a message that says your Zoom quit unexpectedly.
Yeah, so I closed that, so I'm gonna stop sharing. I cannot share my screen right now, so I may ask somebody else if I need to, but for now I was just gonna share our agenda. It says the recap in history, just based on our vision and mission, just understanding the coalition and where we started. So the executive team is a lot of new people who joined the organization. And so we're always learning more history about like the coalition, especially its connection with Project Connect. And as much as I wanted to, we asked a lot of people like what their memories of Sally Santana were. And I would love to share more information on that. Kirsten Jewell actually sent an amazing summary of it, but I haven't formalized it, and I want to make sure that I understand it, and I want to make sure that as we share history here, that we post it on our website and really can share where we came from, not just where we are, because the coalition has gone through a lot of change based on, it used to be called a continuum of care, and it still is a huge structure of service providers and partners, but we want to make sure to lean into that and know that really, thank you all for just continuing to be part of this group. Like I said, we really want to focus on the membership and what that really means, and really putting together project teams. Right now, our focus is an executive team, and so thankful for a Project Connect team that has been working since September this year, specifically on the Project Connect fairs. So the more initiatives that we want to do as a group, what that really looks like. And I want to keep the history short, but if you do have any questions or want to be involved more, even help me kind of disseminate the information around our history, please let me know, because I'm going to pass it to Lisa right now to talk about what one of the most valuable working groups that we could possibly need could help with something like our meal guide update. So Lisa.
Sure. So the Kitsap Housing and Homelessness Coalition produces 4 documents, 2 that are relatively updated and highly used throughout the county. One is the free meal guide, and one is the resource guide, which, let's see, I'll share my screen, and you should be able to find this on our, I'm looking at, sorry, I've been thinking a lot about Project Connect, but if you just go to the Housing and Homelessness Coalition, typically on our homepage, near the top, we have our resource guide, which is a 2-page, very dense list of services provided for those that are primarily experiencing housing insecurity and are unhoused. And then we have our free meal guide, and the resource guide is as updated as it's going to get for the time being. It was updated last April, but we'll need a project team to do that again. The free meal guide, which is the one that we get asked about the most and often changes because there are many like smaller nonprofits or churches that change their meal schedules, is also up to date. And so you can find that, but we just hot off of the presses updated the free meal guide. And so I'll just share that briefly if I can find it. Here we go.
She really means hot off the presses, by the way, everyone.
Like today or last Friday. It takes a lot to update these documents. I think I tried to do an experiment last year where I was trying to crowdsource within this meeting. And we got some good updates, but it was not the best approach, but worth trying. And so we really need a project teams, because you have to either email or call everybody to get their updates. But the free meal guide, which used to be a little bit more colorful, like it wasn't easily printed at all of our organizations. So we have this black and white version currently. On the first side, you'll see Bremerton, and I'll see if I can make it a little bit larger. We also need to redesign it, but we can talk about that at a different time. But we've got all of the free meals available in Bremerton. The little blue pantries are just run out of people's homes and in church parking lots, so those are very hard to update, but I think we've got as solid a hand of that as we can. And then we have all the food banks that we are have confirmed that they are available. On the second side is the broader Kitsap County meal availability. And Sundays, unfortunately, there's a gap. If you happen to know of a place that does provide meals, like within the larger Kitsap County area that is not Bremerton, please do reach out to the Kitsap Housing and Homelessness email. And then we also have food banks throughout the rest of the county. So this one is our most popular document. It's used quite a bit, and it will be available on the KHHC website probably by the end of the week. And then the resource guide, I can show you that, what it looks like. Let me just open up the right window. And I'll just download a copy. And so this is the more in-depth resource guide. It's based on service. And really, these are kind of immediate primary services. And so Housing Solution Center at KCR, of course, is the primary intake and the first place to start. But again, like Salvation Army, like all those front pages, like they're really going to help you to navigate if you're assisting someone who needs support. And so just know that this is a really useful one, but honestly, it's hard to read. I work in a library and I work with a lot of people, and the font is small, and we need to find a better design. And we do try to have like just 2 pages for both of these documents, because the KHC doesn't have a budget. And so you are actually printing within your own organization or as an individual. So we really try to keep it just to a 2-page document and 1 sheet total, which is why so much information.
And you can show the other page too. So this is technically a half or half.
Yeah. And there's the other page. And so it's organized by primary service. So you might see duplicate entries for organizations because they provide a multitude of services. But these are the ones that we'll have at Project Connect, and they will be available on our website by the end of the week.
And I just want to reiterate what Lisa was saying about the time it takes to update them. So when we put out something like that, and then we get emails saying, you know, can you add me? Can we put this on here? There's not really a process to doing that. And so that's why a project team around the resources, I think that we have some people who might have been interested and that we need to reach back out to. But I think after Project Connect, that will be something that we look into doing, formalizing of in some way, just to help us, because we know how valuable it is in the community. Even when we go to events like Project Connect and bring the resource guide, it is our business card. When somebody says, but what can I do next? It's just so nice to have the list of resources. But we know how valuable they are if they are kept up to date, and we want to make sure that we're providing, you know, good resources, not just resources that they're calling various numbers and they're out of service and things like that. Luckily, Priya, our former secretary, and Lisa worked very hard on making sure all those numbers were up to date on the resource guide, but there is a lot of work to do to keep that going. And if it is a valuable resource, that this group here, our membership, will step up and want to help get that updated, whether it's manage a team or just doing the calls. But like I said, we can think about that now and then address that, I think, after Project Connect is passed, because the system meal guide that we just updated, thank you, Lisa and Eric. And so that one's going to be updated. And then the resource guide, we're also going to provide at the fairs. And so you can look at it more on the website or in person. And then I see Jessica Campbell's question about the landlord list. And I think that's a unique resource that KCR has put together. And I don't know if we could take on, we have actually 2 other resources that Lisa didn't share, which is what to do if you encounter somebody experiencing homelessness, and a pet resource guide. So we actually have 4 right now that's kind of under our purview, and we're only able to keep up the 2 right now. So the landlord list is very specific. And I do want to use your question to reiterate that because income discrimination is illegal in Washington, any landlord should accept Section 8. And I'm not sure what the KCR landlord list is or who is on there and who wasn't on there. But I do want to say that anybody should be on the landlord list.
So just to clarify, the landlord list actually covers housing that is not just for Section 8 voucher holders. So in housing, there are units like apartments or houses that have a voucher attached to the unit.
The project-based vouchers,
yeah, project. And then there's also affordable housing, which is what HRB does. And so that list encompassed all of those different providers. And so it would not just be about potentially letting Section 8 voucher holders know where to look, but for all folks, because not all low-income people have a voucher, sadly.
Nope, I completely understand. And I think that is a great resource. And I think there's some validity there, even if, you know, like there's a lot of tax credit units, right, that are low income too. So kind of where those affordable units are would be really helpful. I just don't know if at this point this membership could take that on, but also, is there anybody from KCR here? That might be just a question we will put out to the team and ask if there's a current list. And Jessica, we don't have, you said it hasn't been updated for a year. Is that correct?
Okay. I'm sorry, I used to receive them by email every 6 months or so, and it looks like the last update was in spring of 2022. So, because sometimes housing providers will close their wait lists or new ones will open up their wait lists. And so that was being updated every 6 months or so. And I just haven't seen one in a really long time.
Katie, when I ran a housing solutions center, the landlord list was part of a contract that we had for dollars. It was one of our deliverables on a grant. I don't know, since I haven't been there, if that's not a requirement anymore for housing solutions, but that was why we did it back in my time. Years ago. And then with the private landlords, a lot of private landlords didn't want to be on there because they get flooded with all the calls from everyone that would go through Housing Solution Center. So I don't know, it was kind of whoever would allow us to put their name on there, we put on there.
I appreciate you asking the question though. As from a Bremerton Housing Authority's perspective, it's nice to be able to direct people somewhere. But again, going back to if it's not up to date, we don't want people calling all over the place and not knowing if it's still valid. So we want to make sure that's up to date. So I'll reach out to my contacts at KCR and see too what the status is and what the future of that list looks like. And we'll start from there. Thank you, Jessica. And again, I think that there's a lot that we're talking about, and I think I put the executive team updates first just to get these out of the way so we can talk about point in time and talk about Project Connect. Because the other thing that we're thinking about is in February, I just checked in with Kirsten and she's on board. Kirsten Jewell, who used to work for Kitsap County, now works at the Department of Commerce, and she was open to doing a legislative update. So hopefully we'll see her in February on a virtual meeting. And then we're preparing for our awards. So we used to do our awards in December every year. I know some of you are new, but we have some awards that we give out every year. And last year it was weather. So we didn't end up doing them in December. We actually did an in-person meeting in March. And so we wanted to kind of keep that tradition. So we're going to put out some award nominations soon to nominate community members, service providers who have really shown their commitment to our mission. And we will provide more information about what an in-person meeting would look like. But we're excited to hopefully, celebrate Project Connect after it's completed and get together to celebrate each other. So more to come on that. But any questions before I move on to the point in time count?
Edie, this is Paula from Kitsap Humane. Did you say you all have a pet resources guide? Did I hear you say that?
That is correct. Is it on
Okay.
our website, Lisa?
No, it's not on our website. However, Paula, it is on the Kitsap County website under
Okay.
resources. I can send that to you, or you can look it up because it's kind of, you have to dig in a little bit to find it. But it's very outdated. Like it hasn't been updated since I think before the pandemic started.
I think I've run into it.
Yeah, so essentially at this point it's useless. But if you like, if as we get to that point where we start like updating those documents, like you would be a wonderful asset for that.
Yeah, well, you can sign us up. I'm just going to sign us up.
Oh, thank you.
Wonderful.
We can do that.
And then Virginia from the county just put the link to that in the chat. Paula.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Thank you so much.
Perfect. Any more questions? Carl, are you here? Corey?
An observation, can I?
Yes, Marquita.
Thank you. Thank you for the space. And your resource guide, you under domestic protective services, Kitsap's support advocacy and counseling is no longer providing services. There is a new organization called Rebuilding Hope. Rebuilding Hope Sexual Assault Center. So I can send you the information.
Okay.
Did you, Lisa? And you
Perfect.
can update that. Just wanted to make that observation.
And that's the KSAC, correct?
Yes, it's a Rebuilding Hope. And then the other one is a KSAC. It's no longer.
Okay.
Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Okay, Carl, you can take it away for a point in time. Oh no, we can't hear you. It's not on mute.
Here we go. Is that better?
Yeah, it is good.
Headphones don't want to work. So we have training next Monday at noon at the classroom in the Norm Dix building we have about 60 volunteers. We are using outreach teams to go out also, so we're anticipating a much more accurate count this year. And we'll be doing that. Corey and Jared are coordinating that. So if you're on the volunteer list, noon Monday at the Norm Dix Center.
Do you want to talk a little bit about what the point in time count is?
Time count is, it's a national mandate to go out one day a year and just find out who's homeless, who is couch surfing, basically figure out exactly where we are county-wide and basically nationwide. And so we'll be putting it out and it has to be done by paper. The state legislature set that out. We're trying to get them to hopefully let us use electronics in the next few years, but right now we have to use the paper forms. So paper forms will be at food banks. We will have those all at the Project Connect fairs. Volunteers will have those with them. And then Corey will gather all those in. And then also if severe weather shelters are open, then we will be looking for we'll also be receiving their sign-in sheets. So it's to give us an accurate count to really know what we're looking at as far as having the number of homeless in the county. We're hoping for less, but we're expecting more. Last year we had 245, so we will see where we are. We will cover the whole county. It'll be, instead of doing it at 5 and then 6 in the morning, we're doing it in the evening, because who wants to get up in the winter at 5 in the morning just to fill out paperwork? So we're switching to the evening for that.
Thank you, Carl. And this is for funding, right? A lot of funding. Is it a lot of funding based on the numbers that we produce?
I do not know the answer to that question, to be honest, but it basically gives us an idea of what we need to look for. If we're building new shelters, it gives us an idea of where the concentration is and where we need to put those shelters. So, we know we need one in Bremerton, which the city council is working on now. We have our shelter, which we'll start our construction at the end of the month in Port Orchard. And then we'll be able to tell from there whether we need to do a couple pallet places here or there, just what we need to do. So it will influence our housing and homeless 5-year plan also.
Thank you so much. Any questions about the point in time count? Here, I'll share the flyer too. Well, we'll hope. I like sharing screen, and I feel my hands are tied when I cannot share screen. So.
I didn't know if you shared, Carl, this is Lisa, but like the whole Project Connect Fair, it's to support the point in time count. And so it's supportive of like low income and or people that are experiencing housing insecurity. But we're trying to get an accurate count and gather people. And so that's why those Project Connect fairs are so valuable in the 3 locations that we will have this year.
I'm trying to share my screen, to be determined. Sorry, everyone.
We can see it, Katie, but it just has the text box that the Zoom quit unexpectedly.
Hey, can you see my screen now?
Yes.
I had to leave again. I'm so sorry, everyone. I know there was a comment too. I'm not going to be able to see the chat from before I left for a brief moment. But if there's any comments, if somebody could share that, that'd be helpful, because I think it was about HUD's continuum of care. And I think
Katie, what it says, this is from Eve, and it says, my understanding is the point in time count is required annually by HUD for continuums of care.
And Carl, you might be able to speak more on that, but from my understanding is Kitsap County is part of a larger continuum of care in Washington. And so it's part of the Washington State Department of Commerce reporting. Is that correct, Carl?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the point in time count is required. It's just not required to do it at 5 in the morning.
It's required to just get a count. And the way we're getting a count is, are you counting all week or are you counting just on the one day?
No, well, they'll be counting several nights until we want to make sure we get to every part of the county. So it'll be broken up. We'll determine, Corey is in the process of determining that right now, and then we'll do that on Monday also.
Okay. I just want to share, everyone, this is the Kitsap County Human Services page specific for the point in time count, and all the information, all of the history and why we do it. And it even looks like there's a training video right on the website, which is awesome. And there's also all the results from the different years there. You can see the trends and what is counted. So one thing I know, there is meals. Is there additional meal sites?
The only meal sites will be at the Project Connect sites.
Okay. We're going to move into Project Connect. And before I do something silly like stop sharing my screen, let me just keep sharing my screen and talk about Project Connect. There's a lot of volunteers here from Project Connect, and I'm grateful that you are here, because we wanted to kind of present kind of what's going on next week, but also open it up to Q&A, because a lot of our membership signed up to be vendors. So if you have any last minute questions, this is going to be the time to ask. And you can use the raise hand function, chat, or just call it out if there's a pause. So let me see here. So as you know from several emails that we've sent through MailChimp, that we now have a Project Connect link on our page. So if you go to kitsap.hhc.org, there's a Project Connect link. And this is the home base of where all the information for Project Connect is. And so because there's 3 fairs, there's a lot of coordination between sites, and there's a lot of things happening. We wanted to follow up with more than a flyer this year and just a central location to see all of the information for Project Connect. So I'm just going to give you a quick overview and then possibly introduce our site coordinators and our volunteers, but I might need some help with that, Lisa. So if you go to the page, and I want to say this is the first note on here, it says this program is made possible in part by a grant from the Suquamish Tribe and Suquamish Foundation. We were fortunate enough to be awarded a grant for supporting Project Connect to buy, things to give to those who are part of the point in time count and support these fairs, because this is 3 4-hour fairs across 3 days. So it's a big undertaking, and we're just so grateful for the volunteers and also the funding that we're receiving from the Suquamish Tribe.
So if any volunteers spend any money on these fairs, I just need to get your name, your address, and the receipt. You can email that to me, and then we will turn that into the Community Foundation. They will issue checks for reimbursement. And I'll give that information to Katie, so she'll know that too.
I appreciate that. I think I did see an email come through, but again, this is specific for the organizing of the fair, Carl, or for the vendors as well?
It's for the organizing of the fair.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Again, I'm hoping you all have seen this so far. The first thing is this flyer that we have on the page. It's a printable flyer. I think I just put it out last week, so if you haven't seen it, no big deal. We have 3 locations. I'm just going to go through the flyers, the same information on the page. The first one is in Poulsbo at Gateway Fellowship Church on January 23rd, which is next Tuesday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. This is the same location as it was last year. And the site coordinator is Shannon Turner from PCHS. So you may have received an email from him if you are, or from Terry Schroeder around site coordination or helping with the table. And then, of course, I'm going to say free meals are provided every day from the Salvation Army. So thank you for that. And then in Bremerton, it is at the Salvation Army, January 24th, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. as well. And so that's on Wednesday. So that one's 1 week from today. And then in Port Orchard on the 25th. Oh, and I have to say, Lisa is site coordinator. Lisa, is anybody else site coordinator for Bremerton?
Yes, it's Eric Harold from Salvation Army. I couldn't site coordinate without Harold. He is the key one. But yeah, there's the 2 of us.
Perfect. And then in Port Orchard, it's Roland Arbor. You might have received emails from him. I know there's a lot of coordination around tables, and we are packed this year, which is a good thing. So we have lots of vendors at each location. And so in Port Orchard, it's on Thursday, January 25th at the Port Orchard United Methodist Church. Again, all of this information is on the webpage. There's a little summary of the services offered, and then the main, providers, but not all. I would say that these are the main providers of the event for meals and funding, and then just organization. So I try to I'm going to go back to the page. At the bottom of the page, you'll see all of the vendors. I just want to share that. So the 2024 participating vendors, there's actually an updated table with everyone who's going to be there, what they're kind of offering, and also you can filter it by location. So depending on if you as a resource provider want to meet other resource providers or get some, brochures or whatnot, reach out. Hopefully all this information will be helpful for you as vendors, as well as understanding what kind of services are offered to bring your clients. Okay, so I'm going to scroll back up. Sorry about that. So on this page, some information. Also, there's the locations again, just like the flyer. I also have each event listed on Facebook from the Bremerton Housing. For instance, the Kitsap Housing and Homelessness Coalition does not have a Facebook page. Bremerton Housing Authority created these 3 events, and so they can be shared throughout Facebook, different community groups. If you go to the Bremerton Housing Authority page right now, let's see if I can get there. If you go to the Bremerton Housing, I've been sharing every day, so please, let's get the word out and get people to these fairs. So I've shared these posts, and so if you can just share that on your Facebook pages, that would be really helpful. Again, now that we have lots of vendors and lots of participation, let's make sure the public knows that we're going to be out next week. So again, if there's hands up, I cannot see them. So if anybody could help me out, that would be great. Or questions in chat. There's some maps. These are interactive maps too. You can view larger maps. Sponsors, just like the flyer. Information on the point in time count. Here's the save the date you originally have, which is still accurate. And then here's the new full page flyer. And then the point in time count flyer and some donation information. Again, at the fair, there will be, is anybody, how about Katie Knudsen? She is helping with donations. Do you want to share what donations look like right now at the fair?
All right, donations at the fair. I have, while I was out part of the week last week and more stuff showed up. So I have some extra hygiene packs. I have 3 or 4 big boxes of blankets, smaller blankets and bigger blankets. I have 2 big bags of coats and a small bag of coats, a good variety of men's and women's, kind of a mix. I have some socks. I have some space blankets, like the emergency blankets. And then I think that's what I have here. We also have obviously donations coming from our coffee vendors for Bremerton and then for Paulsville and Port Orchard. And I haven't talked to Jo this week to know what she's got going on her side.
And where will these donations be at the fairs? Will they be, they'll be at every fair to give away, correct?
Yes, and that is a question for Thursday's meeting. Because I don't know where I'm taking anything to. I just said I'd bring it. So I don't know where we're going to put it.
Okay, perfect. But that is what happened last year. So just there were some donations available for those who participated in the point in time count. Again, there will be surveyors at the doors for those.
Oh,
so,
and tarps. I have some tarps that somebody brought brand new, big bag of brand new tarps also.
Yeah, no, we have sleeping bags, tarps, hand warmers, lanterns with batteries, gloves, hats, and we'll be separating those out based on the 3 locations with, so we'll be bringing those up at each one of those also from the county.
I also wanted to bring up Kara, maybe I should have coordinated with you, but has a limited number of little hygiene packs we can give out too from our stores.
Thank you for that. We have an abundance of hygiene packs. Quite by surprise, but Peninsula Community Health actually donated blankets and hygiene packs, and we have a lot. So there'll be plenty.
Can you put your contact information, if you don't mind, in the chat? So if anybody has final donations or the hygiene packs or whatnot, they can just reach out directly, Katie?
Absolutely, doing it now.
Perfect. Thank you.
Excuse me, Katie Sharp. I just wanted to share some questions that are in the chat. So I think these are both from Eric, and we might need to determine that tomorrow's meeting is the planning meeting for Project Connect. It's not. It's we're still kind of working out the last minute details, but Eric is asking Humane Society, so Paula, if you're still here, if you will be able to vaccinate animals. I don't know what sorts of conversations you have, but that's a question. You're on mute, but
Yep, I can answer that.
Okay.
We received a registration late yesterday from them. And
Oh, we did. Okay. Did that come from Lisa Chastain?
no, it came from, just a moment, and I'll tell you.
That's okay. Go.
Jamie Nokula, N-O-C.
Jamie Nokula. That's my boss.
Yeah.
Okay, so did she mention vaccines?
Let me pull it up again.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to take up all your time.
No. I had it open, so it's easy. Vaccine, flea meds, pet food, collars, leashes, pet supplies. And they'd like to have the same setup that they had last year. And they're just in Bremerton at the Salvation Army on Wednesday. So.
Okay, thanks, Terry and Paula. Eric and I were mapping out stuff, so we might have to take a look and revise.
I think last year they were near the showering area so that the pets could come in through the door and they didn't want the pets staying in the building. So they wanted them to be able to come in and go back out is what I recall. Eric might have more information.
We have a pretty good idea of what we'd like to see there. I just wasn't sure whether we were going to have vaccinations or not. And we are asking our participants that are going through to park their pets. And I don't know if that, whether the Humane Society is planning on bringing kennels. I have like 4.
I can find out. Okay. What time is your meeting tomorrow? Do you want somebody from KHS, or do you want to talk with one of us offline to just kind of?
Yeah, I'll talk with you offline. I was going to inquire with Joe Walter, but I mean, if I can talk with you directly about it, that would be great. Can you put a number in your chat?
I will. I'm gonna put my stuff in the chat.
Thank you.
And Eric, I'll send an updated spreadsheet, and it'll have Jamie's information on it as well.
All right, thank you. Thank you.
Perfect. Thanks, you guys. Thanks for the time.
And I guess since I have the microphone, thanks a lot, you guys. Roland, didn't we talk about buying bags at one time? Did we talk about buying bags, and were we able to do that, or do we still need to do that? Anybody know, Roland, were you involved?
I know Katie mentioned it. I know Katie mentioned having bags.
Okay.
We talked about it. I thought it got on the county list, but maybe it didn't.
I thought somebody was gonna order them and
welcome to the real world.
It's not too late.
I think Carl, we can check in with Carl. This is really like I feel like these are the specific details that we need to work out for Project Connect, and
so
you can't really answer that question yet, Eric. But I'll check in with Carl and see if he added it to his list. I think where we left off in terms of questions is from Eve at 2:59. Katie.
Mm-hmm. And it says, out of curiosity, will the public health office or other providers be providing human vaccines? I think at all 3 sites, if I'm correct.
It's the
Yes,
Roland
the
said
caravan.
yes.
Yeah.
All 3 sites will have vaccines. I think it's on the flyer as well. And then Martita says, do you have Spanish and mom interpreters at the 3 sites? I believe, who can talk on the interpreters?
I can speak to it because I don't, I think we've had some last minute volunteers, Martita. So Kayak is hooking us up with 2 volunteers. And then Maria Fergus from Kitsap Public Health has also wrangled a couple of people. You have many connections, Martita. You can also help. It's not too late for Spanish interpreters. I don't think we have any mom interpreters.
Okay, I'm going to reach out. Normally, I've been supporting Project Connect with interpreters over the years. So, yes, I'm going to be reaching out and let you know, Lisa. Thank you.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you.
So I think I showed the bulk of the website and kind of the information. I hope it's just been accessible, that we haven't received a lot of questions specifically around that because it's all been online. So if you do have any questions here, now's your time to ask.
I have a question. Just speaking to the vendors. So there is a planning team. They've done pretty amazing work, I think. But are there things that, like, I know that Roland has mapped out the Port Orchard site. Eric and I were working on mapping out the Bremerton site, which I feel like is the most difficult to navigate. And I'm hoping to have those buttoned up and we can share those maps with the vendors. Have we done that in the past, Terry?
I think we have had the maps available at the site.
At the site, okay.
But not beforehand. We could send them out beforehand. If you got me the map, I could send it.
Okay, I don't know where Shannon is, so just know that we'll try and share that out, everyone, if we can. I'm not so worried about the Port Orchard or the Poulsbo sites, but the Bremerton sites, there's like parking and drop-off, and it's a complex 2-story building with lots of functions that are existing at the same time that Project Connect is happening. But anything that we can do to help this group and any other vendor participating, like feel prepared and comfortable, like please do let us know.
Roland?
And I just wanted to add, especially for Port Orchard, if you could carpool or have someone drop you off, because parking is going to be at a premium. Port Orchard has limited hour parking, so you may end up, if you park on the street, you may have to go midday to move your vehicle to avoid the ticket from the wonderful city of Port Orchard.
And just because I see Jeff here, like Jeff, my intention was to go to tonight's city council meeting and give an update about Project Connect, but I cannot do that today. And so I don't know if there's a way for you to share or anything. But like if you could just, it's next week, it's an important thing. Awesome. And KDK will be there. So
I'll put it in my council report and brief out on it.
Thank you so much.
Any other questions? Is there a general excitement for next week? I mean, it would be a busy week and we want to make sure to support you all. Katie, you didn't mention the coffee. There will be coffee.
I forget coffee. I did mention coffee. Coffee Oasis is providing coffee and coffee, all the goodies that go with the coffee for Salvation Army. And Hot Java over on the west side is providing coffee and all the goodies that go with the coffee for Poulsbo and for Port Orchard.
So there will be coffee for all.
Coffee.
Kathleen, are we gonna have like some sort of little placard or something thanking them that we could put there so the vendors know where the coffee came from?
I could probably just make something. I'd be happy to do that. I'm super crafty.
I'd also put a shout out that Salvation Army is like providing meals. Like, Eric, correct me if I'm not correct. You're supporting vendors as well with meals. Is that correct on at least at the Bremerton site?
Yeah, at all the sites.
At all the sites.
Yeah, we're gonna bring the canteen, mobile canteen around to Paulsbo and Port Orchard. And, I think he's planning on cooking hamburgers out of there. And then we'll just serve in clamshells at our Bremerton location.
Wonderful.
For vendors and client and participants, yeah.
So the people that are supporting and volunteering are going to be well caffeinated and fed. And then the last thing I had sorry to put you on the spot, Katie, like, for anybody who is like still needing to register, we've kind of closed the public forum. And so for efficiency, like, would the best place be to email the admin email, Terry? Like, with that, are you digging in there for last minute vendor registrations? Or would it be better to advise the group on how best for those who have not yet registered yet, like if there's still potential for them to do? And you're muted.
While she gets off mute, I want to say that I would say direct to Terry if that was a possibility, but I know that our sites are full, especially Port Orchard, right, Roland?
Yeah, I am, besides out of tables, I can physically maybe fit 2 more tables and then they'll be outside.
I think when we get the final list, like, I just will let everybody know, we're so grateful. We had more people sign up to participate in this fair than has in the past. And so many of your requests and desires for electrical outlets, or to have like a large table or to have your own table, I would ask you to be flexible in that. It's all for the good of the larger community. And so if you're open to sharing a table, or if you are, you have an absolute need for electrical outlet that cannot be overcome, please do talk to your site coordinator and let's see if we can make it work at the site. But try to be flexible. It's a full house. There's lots of resources and information to share. And Terry, now that we've kind of talked about the high participation of vendors in the fair, for any last minute registrations, what do you advise would be the best way for people to do that?
I would say to have them email me at the Kitsap Project Connect 2000 at gmail.com. I'll put that email in the chat.
I just did it. You can verify that's correct, Terry. Thank you, Terry. And I know, Terry, also you just sent out an email. At least I got one as a registered vendor with all of the site information. Did you send that to all the vendors registered? You're on mute.
Yes, I sent that out to all the vendors for the sites that they were registered for. And
so if you didn't get an email from Terry, please let her know.
Yeah, and it was whoever sent the registration in and the email address that was on that. So, because like there were a couple of emails that I got from Lisa that had come into admin that were from people who had already registered, but the person who sent it wasn't the one that had sent the registry. It was somebody else from the organization. So, but I did respond to both of those and let them know. And Roland responded to one of them as well. So they, I think, got the information.
And I think that's a good reminder. Terry, you're going to send the final spreadsheet, but right now the most current vendor list is on the website at the bottom of that page. Yeah. So I did link the website. So if you want to see, did my agency,
yeah,
are they vending or are they?
I think
posting
probably the only one you don't have on that is maybe Humane Society.
Yep.
Well, Terry, I'm going to email you again because today on the admin email, we had some more interest in having a booth. And so I'll try to send the last few that we got today after this meeting. And then there was also a question regarding parking passes. So for those of you who are interested in parking passes, we will have some available at the Port Orchard and the Bremerton sites. Holsbo is at Gateway. They have a very large parking lot. You should be well set. But for the Bremerton and Port Orchard sites, how I understand it at Bremerton is you at the drop-off area of the building, and Eric, I might have you kind of indicate the location of that, but you'll check in with us and we'll guide you to parking availability and we'll provide parking passes while they last. However, at Bremerton, we have gotten parking at the Marvin Williams Center. And so it's really just, you can drop off, you can park at Marvin Williams and walk back. It's only a couple of blocks. And then we have some limited parking passes, street parking passes as well, that you would pick up when you check in while supplies last.
Yeah, the pickup and drop off point is there between our Salvation Army building and Happy Teriyaki. Thanks, Roland. That's and so you're gonna drive in and then you're gonna drop your stuff off, and you're only gonna need a parking pass if you're going to be on MLK Way or Park. Anywhere other than is that right, Roland? Is that the two locations?
It'll be the 700 and 800 block of Park, and it says 8th Street.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so that's the other side of MLK Way, on the other side of the Marvin Williams. So, and Marvin Williams, I don't think are requiring a pass, are they? I don't think Marvin Williams is requiring a pass.
No, they're fine.
Okay. And if you happen to find an open spot at Salvation Army, you can take it.
Any other questions, concerns? Again, the webpage is a great resource, but you can always email.
Maybe one last question. Like, so if we're having our last planning meeting and we might be able to like firm up some of the details and kind of check back in on the questions asked here, can we communicate that out via MailChimp or the newsletter? So
yeah, depending on if it's just a vendor question, Terry has the email list, or we can put that out to the larger group. And we will definitely do that. Again, check the page. I'll keep it updated, and check Facebook too, as Bremerton Housing Authority is sharing the information. And we just, I guess my final point is the Power Project Connect comes from being that one-stop shop. So let's make this last week a push to get people to know about it and see if we can get attendees, because it's a great time for us to connect as vendors and partners as well. Honestly, not seeing each other in person, great time to connect, but also really being there for those who attend. And so how do we get more people to attend is always a good question, but we all can send the flyer, post the flyer, share on Facebook, whatever you need. We want to make sure to be a team on this outreach and this final push. So I appreciate you. All right, well, if our Project Connect item is the last thing on the agenda other than the updates from all the agencies. So to follow along, since we have 52 people here, to follow along our normal update process, you can put if you have an update, you can put it in chat and then we'll call on you just to keep it in an order. And while everybody's kind of putting their updates in chat, I'll say from the Bremerton Housing Authority, I think you all remember that we opened the wait lists a year ago, and we opened like 9 wait lists over a process of a year, different wait lists and through our Rent Cafe platform. Well, now they just send out a letter that says, if you want to stay on the wait list, because we have over 4,000, I think, if you want to stay on the wait list, you have to go into the platform and say, save my spot. So we sent that communication out. We're getting that out over email to everyone on our wait list. But if you ever do encounter somebody who said, what is this save my spot? I want to let you all know that all it is they're logging into Rent Cafe and clicking a button. But we don't want to have that miss somebody, and so they don't save their spot because they didn't know to log in. So if you have any questions, please email me. I'll put my contact information in, and we want to make sure everybody who is on the wait list and wants to stay on the wait list gets that information before we close the Save My Spot opportunity. And if there's any updates that aren't, and Jessica Campbell asked if we're mailing them. I think they did mail them, and I think they mailed them last week. It was from that housing department, but so we're starting to get questions now. And if you want to raise your hand instead of putting your update in chat, that's okay too. All I would do is call on you to share your update anyway. So if you're open to just sharing it, please do. Roland, do you have an update or is your hand up?
If I get my fingers to work. So a few years ago, the county was able to obtain some defective electric blankets. So I went and got a pallet full, which is 96 of them, that I've disabled and got available now. But I've got another pallet that I could pick up. So if agencies are interested in blankets, please send me an email how many you'd like, and we can figure out how we can get together and get those to you so you can, I can show you how to disable them and get them distributed.
Thank you, Roland. Any other agency updates? Anything you would want to share with other service providers? Grace, would you want to share your update?
Hello, everybody. So I was typing away the update, but basically what I was saying is we are accepting referrals at PCAP, which is a 3-year intensive case management program for pregnant and parenting women with substance use disorders. And for referrals to contact Linda Seeger, our supervisor, and I put the number in the chat. And I also wanted to let everyone know that we have a case manager position open at PCAP. And how should I put this? Linda's much better at talking about open positions, but the requirement is for the case manager to have a 4-year bachelor's degree and also 4 years experience of working in social services and just knowledge of community resources. So if you know of any candidates that would be interested, or anyone at all who might be interested in being a case manager for PCAP, also please contact Linda Seeger at the same number that I put in the chat.
Thank you, Grace.
As you can see, I'm more skilled as a case manager and not HR. But thank you.
Dawn, did you want to share an update for DSHS?
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. Just a couple of things to share. The cash grant programs increased by 8% at the first of the year. That's the temporary assistance for needy families, also the state version of that program, pregnant women's assistance, age blind and disabled. So kind of across the board, the cash grant programs increased by 8%. An example, the age blind and disabled went from $417 a month for one person to $450 a month for one person. Notices went out to our customers mid-December to let them know about the changes in those benefits. Another recent start, $100 diaper stipend was added to TAN of households with children under the age of 3. Medical eligibility reviews. We did a bunch of robocalling to remind our elderly customers that it was time to renew their medical coverages. That's the Medicare Savings Program and the Classic Medicaid. Yeah, that's pretty much it over here in our world.
Thank you, Dawn.
You're welcome.
Carisha asked about the point in time count and if they're still accepting volunteers. Corey, I saw you online.
Yeah, for the Project Connect Fair, we're still looking for any additional Spanish speakers that might be able to sign up for that. We've got, I think, 3 signed up. I could always use 2, 3, or 4 more after that. Also, the other positions that are open are for outreach workers. If you're part of a formal or informal organization that does any kind of outreach work, where you'd be surveying out in the streets, in the woods, where people are staying, that remains open as well. But for the food banks and the North Kitsap and South Kitsap Project Connect fairs, we're currently full on volunteers.
Cody, can you give me your email? I can connect with you about the volunteers.
Okay.
Maria Dozman, would you like to share an update?
Sure, thank you for letting me share my update. I am a Kitsap-based outreach manager for Puget Sound Energy. We have a new ongoing monthly discount program. It's an online application that takes just about 3 to 5 minutes. Applicants just verbally self-certify their income. No proof of income is required. No social security number is required. And they get access to a monthly discount of up to 45% a month, plus direct access to PSE help. So I will be at all 3 days of Project Connect. I've included a flyer of other places around the county that I will be at, including Goodwill in Bremerton tomorrow in the afternoon from 1 to 3, helping those who would like assistance applying to apply. Thank you.
You're welcome. And did you mention there's an event at Goodwill from 1 to 3?
Yes, from 1 to 3 in Bremerton tomorrow.
Okay. Is that a resource fair?
It actually is. I'm just going to be at the store during one of their beginning ESL classes. So they're promoting the my presence, and so not only helping those who will be at the class, but also helping those just who are in the store or who heard about the event through their promotion.
Maria, can you share what are the documentation they need to bring with them, please?
They don't need any documentation. They just need an idea of what their income is as it's broken out. So if it's Social Security entitlement and maybe 20 hours a week of pay, just have an idea of that breakout. And I will put it into the application system. But and then also their account number. If they could bring their PSC account number, that's all I need.
the account? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And I realized, let me see, that since I didn't ask the county if they had any other updates besides point in time count, and I know there's usually a section for that. So Corey or Carl or anybody here from the county, if you have any updates, please let me know or share them. That would be great. Otherwise, if there's no more community updates, we might have to close out early and give ourselves a half an hour back. Yes, that's all our reaction. Yes.
Yeah, I don't know of any other updates that we might have from the county. We've got supplies separated to go to the different Connect fairs. As far as the county, I don't know that we have other updates at the moment.
Corey, just a quick question for you. Do you, just for Port Orchard, would you like to deliver those earlier rather than the day of event? If so, let me know.
Yeah, I'll have Jared connect with you because he's gonna pick up some supplies and drop some stuff off in Port Orchard. So I'll send him an email to remind him to connect with you about coordinating that drop off.
Great, thanks.
Yep.
And Jeff?
Thanks. I'd be remiss not to mention from the city side, at our council meeting tonight, one of our big items is deciding on a path forward for shelter type creation. And so if people haven't been kind of following it, there's two proposals on the table. One from the mayor to build a 100-person congregate shelter out by Oyster Bay, and another one by a combination of nonprofits, Kitsap Community Resources, St. Vincent de Paul, Bremerton Housing Authority, Kitsap Mental Health, to build a hybrid shelter with a combination of low barrier congregate and pallet housing. A couple locations available, one of them right next to Mills Crossing, kind of providing a continuum of care. So if folks have opinions on those, most welcome to either write into the city council email or speak up at the meeting tonight. Just wanted to mention that's out there.
Well, that's a great update. I think that's really important. There's lots of conversation around it, and it will be, if you have any interest in learning more about what the community is saying and city council, or sharing your thoughts, I would always suggest attending the meeting. If there's nothing else, we'll save our next updates for next meeting, but for now, we'll see you all next week.
See you next week.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
All right, everyone. So the Kitsap Housing and Homeless Coalition meeting has drawn to an end. Please do again take note of all of the items in the chat to keep yourself informed. Again, the severe weather shelters are open this evening. The only one that is closed is Gateway Fellowship, but the other three are open: Port Orchard United Methodist, Village Green Community, and Silverdale Community. Okay, so again, the severe weather shelters are open. As always, Salvation Army is always open. So in addition, so please let people know. Again, they can call 211 or 360-373-3000 should they need a ride to the shelter. All right. We will see you next month, and hopefully we'll see you next week at Project Connect. Again, the web page is there. Let me pull that up really quick. I think that might be a good idea. Let me just do that really quick so people can see. Bear with me one moment. All right. Let me go ahead and pull that up. That's going to be January 23rd, 24th, and 25th. next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday. Okay. And here is the information right here. Go ahead and take this stuff off the screen. A ton of resources. This was a great event last year. If you're looking for resources for those that are unhoused, low income, if you have a loved one or someone that you care about, if you work for an agency, this is for a lot of people. So please come on by. One stop free event helping individuals and families in need. Okay. We are just starting our cold season for all intents and purposes. So please don't feel like you do not qualify. Just come and get the help. Paul's Bowl, January 23rd from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Gateway Fellowship Church in Paul's Bowl. On Wednesday, January 24th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Salvation Army. And then on Thursday at Port Orchard at 725 Kitsap Street, Port Orchard. So those are the three locations. Again, let me see if I can go ahead and pop those into the chat here. Actually, I want to put them here. Oh, good. It wasn't too long. Excellent. So there's Tuesday down there for you. Wednesday again is at Salvation Army. And then Friday will be in Port Orchard. Okay. Again, this is a wonderful event. Last year, especially at Bremerton, it was so packed. There were so many different resources. I will try to put up some videos that I shot last year so you can get an idea of what it looks like and just why it's so important in our community. But we are going to have this cold weather for a while. So please just keep that in mind, okay? And as always, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and we will see you for City Council in about 2 hours.